Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Star Wars Gazer. I'm Star Wars Gazer, obviously. I got my man Ricky, Pop the Bounty Collector over there. What's going on, Ricky? How are you?
Hey, what's going on? Thank you for the invite, man. I feel very honored. And that
Absolutely.
intro, bro, where did you take me?
I took you on a
That
journey
was
through
like
the galaxy.
hyperspace. Like, where am I in Peridia right now?
Oh, you're on your way. Oh man, I love that. Yep. I don't know, dude. Thank you for being on here, man. Like, I appreciate you taking the time. So,
Always, man. Always. Anybody that's a fan of Star Wars is a friend of mine.
amen to that. I'll second
Yeah.
that motion any day.
Yeah, we can stay talking to Star Wars. It's like whenever I join anybody's podcast and we're talking about Star Wars, is like going back to school, man. In the
Yeah.
playgrounds, talking about X-Men, talking about I was a big
Yep.
Batman fan, the animated series, talking about that. Like it's
Oh,
just whenever we talk about Star Wars, it just brings you back to being a kid, man.
100%. And that's what I love. And I think that's why we as Star Wars fans love Star Wars so much and these other things, right? It gives us an escape,
It
gives
does.
us something to, at the end of the day, you get to sit down. I get to watch these. Like my wife is like, it's funny because she's not much of a nerd. And so like I'll get home and after the kids are down and we've spent some time together, like I'll come down here and I'll watch card unboxing videos and like all this stuff. And she goes, I don't understand how you watch this. I'm like, for me, this is an escape. This is 100% an escape for me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things we could be doing bad. And then, I guess, society sometimes back in the days made you feel like, once you're 20, 21, you gotta be a man, you gotta take care of the family, get a serious job, leave all those toys alone, what are you a kid? And then I realized little down the road was like, no, it's just me, man. That's everybody has their own thing. Like you either
yeah,
collect cars, watches, cigarettes, or not
right,
cigarettes, cigars,
right,
purses, high heels. Like you do things, maybe you
yeah,
knit. Like everybody got something,
right,
and I guess I took that Toys R Us commercial serious. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. I just
yeah.
took it serious. I'm there. My mom is my biggest supporter. She just still like she's like, "I can't believe you still getting stuff, collecting stuff," or and now she's like, "What Comic Con are you going to, or what are you doing?" Like, she knows. She just knows me. It's like sports and like, pop culture stuff and Star Wars and figures, but I'm not doing anything bad. I'm not taking
Right,
any drugs. I'm not robbing anybody, not
right.
killing anybody. I'm just being a nice person that just likes to collect and, talk to other people that collect.
Same, same,
Mhm.
100%. Yep. Yeah, I could be out doing some other things there,
Yeah.
babe. Like I ain't. I'm you. You want to know how I'll never cheat on you? This.
Yeah, what was it that I seen that, all those memes make me laugh. I sent them to my
Yes.
girlfriend. I wonder what is he thinking about right now?
Yep.
Then it's just like me right now. It's like, where can I get a PSA 10 of this? And
For me, it's right now. It's man. Theory Sabers just got a really cool sale right
oh
now. I
my
really want to be a
god.
part of that,
And that's dangerous. That buy one, get one,
dude.
but it's smart. It's smart. If you because sabers are expensive, man.
They are.
I will be honest with you, like, I'm lucky that I've gotten a couple sabers for free from N Sabers. Shout outs to N Sabers, appreciate you.
Heck
And
yeah.
I'm also lucky that I'm able to have friends that like help me get cheap sabers. But before I would say, was it 2022? I didn't have no lightsabers
Yeah.
or helmets because they're
Yeah.
just too expensive. I mean,
100%.
you have kids, I have kids. I mean, there's other priorities, bills gotta be paid, but of
Yep.
course, if we had all the money in the world, bro, this room would be full of every lightsabers. I wouldn't even have lights on. I'll have a one button to press on the wall that turns on all the lightsabers in the background.
1000%. Yep.
If but, you
Yep.
know, but
I told
yeah,
my
that's
wife, as things go, I wanna collect helmets and hilts. Those are my I love
oh,
helmets and
yes.
hilts.
Yes.
So, yeah, man. So I didn't know that about you, that you said at the beginning you also enjoy Batman, so we're gonna have to talk a little Batman too, because
Ooh.
that's that's my second love besides
Oh,
Star Wars. Like, Batman is my I read Batman comics and yeah. So
Oh, well, yeah, but Batman definitely, I'm big in so I would say 4 things. The 4 things that I'm really big in: Star
okay.
Wars, Batman, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
Those are like my top 4. Those are the things that I collect. I don't really show too much in the channel of my other things, but I do have a sick Batman pop collection. I do have that glow in the dark bank robber Joker with the mask and the regular that goes for like $1,100. Got it for $34 many, many years ago. I got
Nice.
Dragon Ball Z statues or figures, Ichiban Kujis. I got Power Rangers, Pop Sign. Even my prized possession is the Jason David Frank before he passed away. So many things I like, but it just seems like Star Wars is my number 1. That was weird.
Yeah, it was a glitch in the matrix there.
There it was. I don't know. See where you took me, bro. I lost my signal.
Yep, we're going. I told you we're going deep into space here.
You
Oh
talking
man,
about Outer Rim for real, bro.
outer rim. Oh yeah. Um, no, for me, I think my main loves are Star Wars, obviously. Batman. I'm a big Batman guy. I love Lord of the Rings. Um,
Mm.
I love watching all the extended editions are the best. And then World War II history stuff, like if I get a chance, and like you said, I just like learning about that stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll be putting things like nature, planets. Uh, Sometimes I say I'm gonna put this on so I could go to sleep. Sometimes I have trouble going to sleep. And then so I put it on, and then it's something that's so interesting. I'm like, bro, you're not helping yourself go to sleep. You should be because now I'm like, oh, this for real? Like, yeah. So
That's
yeah, I get
hilarious.
it. That's good.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that. It reminds me of I don't know if you ever listened to any oh, what's his name? Jeff, not Dunham. Foxworthy. He
Foxworthy.
has this yeah, he has this one where he talks about staying at his in-laws, and he goes, "You know, my father-in-law likes to get up at 4:30 AM and turn the TV on, which would be fine if you watched it at normal people volume." But he's like, he turns it on and it's like, "And the African wild bee," and he's like going on. He's like, "I've never it's the weirdest feeling being mad and learning at the same time."
Yeah,
So,
just comedian, like he's funny, bro. But he
he
talks the
is.
truth. That's the
He
thing.
does. He
Yeah.
does. That's the scary thing sometimes. It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that's so true."
And then now these days it's like people get so offensive. Like what was it I was watching? I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Pest
Mm-mm.
with John Leguizamo. There's so many things in that movie. It came out like in the 90s. But if
Okay.
that movie was to drop now, oh my god, it wouldn't make it in
Yeah.
theaters because all
Yeah.
the things that they said in that movie, I'm like, "What?"
There's so many movies like that today. Yeah.
I just don't know where we became so sensitive.
I know, right?
It's
There's
just like
yeah. There's a guy I was listening to, he's a rapper, but he was talking like one of his lines in there is like, "We grew up watching South Park. How are we offended?" You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I just trying to figure out where did it start? And I
yeah,
think when you try to censor so much stuff, like as a parent, you censor things here and there because you want to protect your kids, but at
for
the
sure.
same time, it's reality. You
Right.
shelter and your kids so much when you throw them out in the world, they're gonna be mind freaked.
Right.
So sometimes you just gotta prepare yourself. So,
Yeah.
I grew up with parents that, it's crazy, but my parents let me watch Freddy Krueger with my sister when I was 5. Like you think about how you let a 5-year-old watch Nightmare on Elm Street, but
Yeah, yeah.
now I know, when you hear 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, you just gotta run. She
Right.
was teaching me she was teaching me the values.
Yeah, right?
But
Run!
yeah, yeah, run. But, yeah, there's so many things that, man, so many people are sensitive now, and then even at work, you gotta be careful,
Yep.
you talk about, what is it? Water cooler talk, they
Yeah.
say guys in the office
Yep.
talk here and there. Yeah, now you may not even be talking to anybody, just to your friend, best friend at work that you know won't be offended, but another person heard your conversation. They're
Right.
not in your conversation, but since they
Right.
heard it, they were offended about what you said to your friend, and
Yeah.
then you get in trouble. I'm like, well, it's becoming like that. So now it's just like you just come into work, make sure you don't say anything, you get yourself in
Yep.
trouble. Then when you walk out them doors, say what you want to say.
Right, exactly, yeah, and it makes a lot of sense for me too now that I look at my life and, like, I have our the Star Wars community here, but then, like, here where I live, like, I have a small group of, like, best friends that, like, we're free to talk kind of a thing, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
outside of that, like, I mean, I'm still myself, but at the same time, I'm a lot more guarded, when
Yeah.
I'm out in public, so 'cause like
It,
you said, everyone just gets so offended so easily, and
so
it could be
easily.
something that you just say just kind of like off the cuff that you didn't mean to jack by it. It just came out of your mouth, but it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
People have like we're all human and we have different feelings in the moment. Sometimes we may not necessarily mean what we're saying, but in that moment, that's how we felt.
Yeah,
You know, 5 hours later, we may not feel that same way. But yeah, it's
yeah,
it's it's crazy. And
it
it,
is.
it's this speaking about like people talking freely, the whole acolyte thing, crazy this year.
It is.
Crazy this year. Now, I'm one of the people where there was some things of the acolyte I like. Was it the best? No, it was not the
No,
best.
no, not
Did
even
it
close.
had potential? It did. If it got eliminated some stuff and
Yeah,
continue the path of what we were promised, a Sith show,
right,
right? If you just did Sith, you know. Um, but man, I've never seen so many people that he will even get my comments or join Tony's live and just bash the acolyte and keep on talking about here's another trash episode. Don't watch it.
right.
Don't watch it if you don't like it. Like, I always tell people how many times people tell me, yo, go watch this on Netflix. It's a good show or it's a good series. And I watched the first episode. I'm like, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah,
So when I go back to work, I don't bash them for watching that show. I just say, "Oh no, I really didn't feel it, but I appreciate you, letting me know." And that's it.
right.
We just keep it moving. But
Yep.
man, this I think it stems from a lot of projects that came out that are not hitting
Yeah,
expectation.
yeah,
And then, from a person like so my girlfriend knows about Star Wars. She's not a
good.
big, huge Star Wars fan, but she's very supportive and she's seen the movies and stuff and shows. And she actually liked the Acolyte from a person being the outside, right? Because she
Yeah,
doesn't know all the
lore.
history of Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
So from a person just watching it, she thought it was good. She's like, "Why is everybody complaining about? You're not gonna make everybody happy." And then she would overhear the podcasts that I'm listening to, and then she'll be in the kitchen and she'll be like, "That person just needs to get over themselves." All
yeah,
right, it's like not everything is gonna be for everybody, and,
yeah,
and she made sense. It's like
yeah,
there's so many projects and movies, but I think the reason why there's a lot of people that voice their opinion about Star Wars is because we held Star Wars very sacred because of the simple fact that this is what our community was. This is us.
yep,
Like it's our habitat. Like it's our just us.
right,
And
yep,
when you mess around with stuff like that, it's kind of like it rubs people the wrong way because the simple fact like this is where we love. And now sometimes it seems like other people that are outside are trying to get involved into changing things and be like, wait, chill. Like
yeah,
George set the foundation.
right,
George is the creator. You can't come out of George because this is his idea. So for you to criticize George, how? This is
right,
his.
yeah,
So then he set the foundation. Just continue to build, but don't go too much outside from what he built already.
yeah,
Stay in that realm.
yeah.
And
I think that's
uh
one thing too that like that when I look at the Acolyte, I think, in my opinion, I wasn't a big fan of the show either, but I think it was a culmination of a lot where, like you said, George Lucas set this bar of expectation for his movies, the way he made them, the way the plot ran, right? Like you like return like with the prequels, you had 3 movies to develop one character, right? Anakin, and you're developing like where he starts, where he ends up with Darth Vader, like there's just a bar of expectation in the 6 originals and like the Clone Wars and stuff that was set. And I think since Disney has gotten the rights to Star Wars, I think there's a lot of times where maybe not that they're purposely taking a poop on it, but like they just have people who don't know what they're doing and don't have a plan. So it seems like they're pooping on Star Wars. And it's just, I think the Acolyte was just kind of a culmination, the hair on
Mm,
the camel's back that people are like, this is ridiculous. Like, can we just get something good? Like, we just want a cool storyline. We just want cool characters. Like, that's all we care about. Like, can we please like stop pooping on the lore and you know what I mean? Stop doing all this other outside crap like you said. Like let's focus on the story and the characters. Like that's why we come here, is to do that.
and yeah, and I think they try to push agendas a lot,
Yes,
too much, and, uh
100%.
and I understand, okay, it's a business. At the end of the day, it's about money.
Right.
Everything is about money. But do you really know Star Wars fans? Star Wars fans spend money. So if you create something that's amazing, they're gonna buy the merch, the figures, anything about it. Like when Revenge of the Sith came out, episode 3, all that merch was flying off the shelves. So if you create something good, so if they're about money, just be like, what do the fans want? And
Yep.
let's create it and let's make more of it because they're gonna buy it. And
Yeah.
I love Grogu. Heck, I got a freaking tattoo of Grogu on my leg. That was a Friday the 13th kind of thing. But still I got a tattoo of Grogu on my leg. But then it was like too much. You pushing Grogu too much, and I get you want to appeal to the kids in the parks and they buy the Grogu hat and all this stuff. But sometimes you push too much
Yep.
and you got to get back to the basics.
Yeah.
And I think I was, yeah, like I said, I was watching what I said to you earlier, you and Battle Packs talk.
Yeah.
And, he brought something up that I was like, yeah, Star Wars live action in the theaters and animation as a show, he would prefer it that way. And I really miss going to the movie theaters.
Same.
I really miss that anticipation. Like I'm waiting for that Mando and Grogu movie because it looks good.
It does.
It looks really good for some of the stuff that we saw. But yeah, it's like we got to get back to the movie theaters. They got to get back to let's do a reset and figure out where we're going. And too
Yep.
many people, too many hands in the pot. If you
100%.
let Dave do his thing, Dave can cook,
You can.
but if he's getting pushed agendas and saying you guys need to do this, that's what I feel like what happened with Mando Fabro with season 3.
Yeah.
It's like I love Jack Black, don't get me wrong, but
Same.
Jack Black, Lizzo, it felt more of the Bo-Katan show
Yep.
than Mando show. It was just too much. I think, like you said, it was a culmination of so many things that happened. Obi-Wan wasn't what it was supposed to do because they were pushing Riva so much. Who the
Yep.
heck is Riva?
Yeah. Nobody
If you
nobody's
want to
here to
make
watch Riva. Like
nobody is. We're here to see the boys. You and
exactly.
Hayden coming back from so many years. Oh my God. My fanboy, my little boy, and myself, like, yes, let's
Same.
go. And then you're pushing Riva. Who the heck is she? Nobody cares.
Right.
And then Andor, I know there's a lot of people that Andor is like 50-50.
Yeah.
Some people like it, some people didn't like it. I just felt like it's too slow because I was excited for the Andor because
Yeah.
I love Rogue One. Rogue One was an amazing movie. Um, but yeah, Andor started slow, so I'm looking forward to season 2 for sure
Yes.
because it looks like it's gonna be a little
Yeah.
bit
Every
faster
3
paced.
episodes, it jumps a year in his life.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to, and some characters are coming back from Rogue One to reprise their role. And then what else? Then the Acolyte. It wasn't it. It wasn't what we were promised. Like what
Yeah,
we saw in London celebration, they showed us a little bit of Acolyte. And obviously they showed us a lot of the fight scenes and all that stuff. And I was like, ooh, that's what I'm talking about. A show with fight scenes and lightsabers and different Jedis and let's go. Let's
yeah,
show them what we could do. And it's not what we got. And and the best episodes in that series were the fighting episodes, and that's it.
yep.
Um, so yeah, they're banking a Skeleton Crew. I'm looking forward to it because I think it's just gonna be like Goonies, Stranger Things,
It felt like it
like
had
that.
a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe with the music in the
Yeah, yeah,
background,
yeah,
you know? Like, it
yeah,
was like, "Alright," like yeah. But I think that's
yeah,
one thing too that you mentioned a lot when you were talking there is, like, agendas. Like, as Star Wars fans, I don't know about you, but part of the reason I've loved and gravitated towards Star Wars is to get away from all of that, right?
yeah,
It's a galaxy far, far away, right? Where you can get out of your current world that you live in, get into another world, immerse yourself, and just have these stories of, adventure and heroism and all this other. Like, I don't need that in my escape. Like, that's why I want the escape. So, yeah, it
yeah.
becomes difficult.
It's tough because like they also try to say like, oh, because we don't like certain characters because they're females. I'm like, come on, have you not seen Star Wars?
Right.
Princess Leia is such a badass.
She
We
was
love Leia.
Padme.
Padme, come on,
Yeah,
female, badass. Have you seen episode 2? She was the one
right.
that kind of saved Anakin and Obi-Wan. Hello.
Yeah,
So it's like it's not that. It's just you guys are pushing too much
yep.
stuff, and hello, it's aliens, creatures, different species. We're not worried about genders and all that stuff. Like, bro,
Right,
it doesn't matter, but don't push it
right.
onto people. You know what I'm saying? It's Star Wars, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's a different world. But I still collect. I still collect
same.
things. Sometimes, like for me, what I'm trying to do right now is collect a lot of things from episode 2.
Okay,
Yep. Episode 2 is like my favorite movie. So
okay.
it's an oddball. It's not something that everybody chooses
Yeah, yeah,
as their favorite Star Wars, but for me, it's like that's where Anakin began to turn
yeah,
in that movie.
yeah. So what and I know you've probably explained this a lot, but what got you kind of going down the Star Wars road? Um, like what got you interested there?
My uncle, um, it was back in '97 when they came out with the special edition in theaters. Like George Lucas finally got the technology that he loved and wanted and needed and didn't have back in the '70s and '80s. So he kind of upgraded the original three, and I wanted to go to the movie theaters and see it. And my uncle was like, "I'm gonna take you to the movie theaters to see that. I got it here." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You got it here." And he pulls out the old VHS 3-pack set, and we watched it. And that weekend, spending over my uncle's and cousin's house, eating pizza and watching all 3 movies, that kinda, like, sealed the deal, because I knew
Yeah,
about Star Wars before, but back then, I was more into sports
yeah,
than anything else, and, we I grew up at the time where Star Wars wasn't popular. It
right.
wasn't the thing that everybody talked about. Kind of like you looked at them at school lunch and like, oh, there goes the Star Trek and Star Wars nerds and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
so I wasn't really focusing on Star Wars. It would come on the TV from time to time, the reruns, and I kind of knew the basic, like spoilers were already spoiled for me. That Darth Vader was Luke's father, and Leia and Luke are brother and sister.
yeah,
I knew that part, but watching the whole 3 movies and how it started made me like, you know, what? Anakin is Darth Vader? He was a Jedi? He was good at once? And then coming a couple of years later in 99, I started working at AMC theaters 2 weeks before episode 1.
Ooh,
So
dang.
I got hired at the perfect time, got to see the movie the Wednesday before release because AMC
Dang.
put the movies for all the employees to watch. So it was like late at night. It was like 9 something at night. Now I was in high school. So I remember having to tell my mom, "Hey," she thought probably that I was lying, but I'm like, "Hey, in my job, they're gonna be showing Star Wars at 9 o'clock for the employees, and why so late? And it's a school night." But I remember getting home late and having to wake up early to go to school. I was a senior in high school, and I watched it, and I told my friends, and they were like, "Okay." And some of them were like, "Wait, that don't even come out to Friday. How did you see it? You're lying." And I'm like, "I saw the movie."
Right.
And, for me, that was the nail in the coffin. Like, it got me in the 3 movies that summer '97 watching it with my uncle, and then the nail in the coffin was episode 1. I worked in the movie theaters. I think I seen episode 1 over 40 times
Wow.
because it was just something to do. It was like, literally, I would come out of high school and my shifts would be, I don't know, like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. So back then they didn't really care you came in and go to the movie theaters. Like, employees know each other. So I would just come in after school. I had my work clothes in my backpack, and I'll just go into any theater that's showing episode 1. So I watched this so many times. Like, even watching here with my kids, like I'm like saying all the lines is like, can we hear the person on the TV say the lines like that? Why you have to say it, right?
Yeah.
But I seen it, so that's why episode 1 is not my favorite, but it holds a big part of, like, nostalgia for
Yeah.
me and memories of working in movie theaters. But yeah, that was it. After that, it was just going to see Star Wars, and back then, there was no I remember there's no pre-assigned seats. You
Yeah.
can purchase your tickets online, but a lot of people purchase it at the booth still. There was
Right.
stanchions outside of the movie theaters with, somebody that wrote episode 2 line, and you had to stand out in line outside. And it's first come, first serve seats. Then it went to, like, midnight releases. So if you really wanted to watch the movie early, you have to go midnight. So it was good times, man, good
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, and I feel that nostalgia with you because when Phantom Menace came out, I was 5, and that was the first Star Wars movie I've ever seen in theaters. And not just Star Wars movie, the first movie period I've ever seen in theaters. And so for me, like I had already watched like the original trilogy with my dad and stuff as a kid, but there's something about being able to watch it in a theater room and
Yes.
I was instantly hooked. And so like for me, like same thing. Phantom Menace isn't necessarily my favorite, but it does rank pretty high on my list just for that nostalgia fact. So
Yeah. Nothing like going to the movie theaters and then what is it? They have the THQ or whatever, Dolby
yeah,
Sounds, and yeah, it just that big widescreen. Something about the movie popcorn just hits different.
yes,
The Coke tastes different out of
it
the movie
does.
theaters. I don't know. It's just it's good times. It's good times. And then you talk about back then, if you wanted to rewatch a movie, gotta go back to the movie theaters. Gotta go
Yep.
back. So I remember going back plenty of times now. When episode 2 came out, I was married. So and I didn't work at AMC theaters anymore. So if I had to watch the movie again, I had to buy another ticket. Had to
Yep.
buy another ticket. So I remember one time watching episode 2 by myself because my wife at the time, my ex-wife, she wasn't gonna watch it again.
Yeah.
But for me, I wanted to rewatch it, you know?
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Yep. So for you said episode you've been starting to collect stuff from episode 2 because that one's your favorite. Like what makes episode 2 your favorite?
So to me, episode 2 has so many things in that movie that happen that kind of ties a lot of stuff. One, biggest thing is like you got Django. So you see Django Fett. So we know that Boba's a clone.
Yeah.
but he kept Boba
Yep.
to, to be with him, his son that he could train. That all the clone troopers started were clones of Jango Fett. Um, you see in Geonosis, the Geonosian is the one that created the plans for the Death Star. At so you learn these things. You learn about Anakin and why did he turn so bad? Because Anakin would do anything to protect the people he loved, and I think
Yeah.
he had a lot of regret. 10 years passed, and he left his mom. So he's out here doing young Padawan Jedi adventures and having good time with Obi-Wan and probably living a better life because he was a slave. And this
Yeah.
whole time he didn't even know his mom was sold to somebody else, Lars, and then end up marrying her. And then the Tusken Raiders took her. He's having all these nightmares and visions about his mom. And by the time he gets to see her, she dies in his hands. So it's like that rage
Yeah.
or that hurt, him killing all the Tusken Raiders is like, to me, I feel like that was the moment. There's and
Yeah.
so that turned into my that mom was the only woman that I love, and now I love Padme. I don't want to lose her. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
do whatever it takes. And to me, it was crazy that, he tells Padme that he slaughtered all of them, the children, then every all of them. That should have been a red flag.
For
Padme
100%.
should have been Padme should have been like, "Okay, cool. I need Obi-Wan, can you come and get me, please?"
Right.
Yeah, like that should have been a
Yeah.
red flag, but she stood with him. And yeah, it is that turning point. And then first movie you get to see Yoda fight.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Even though people make fun of it, like he's bouncing back everywhere like a little frog. But first one to see him fight, and then we got to see Mace fight as well. We got the gunships with the clone troopers. We got to see a lot of Jedi's fight in the Battle of Geonosis. Like it's so many stuff in that movie that happens. Like I watched that movie so many times. Going to Camino, that amazing fight that people don't talk about, which is between Obi-Wan and Jango Fett in the rain in Camino. That
Yep.
was a dope fight.
Yeah.
So many things,
Yeah.
that I love that movie.
Yeah. There are some really good points in that movie, like that fight when he kicks Django and he's tied up, and then he's
Yeah,
like, "Oh crap!" Like
crap.
he realizes what he just did. Oh man, I love that. But you're right, like
Yeah, it's
that.
so good. And what's it, Dexter, the
Yeah,
diner. It's just
Obi-Wan. Yeah,
so many things. And I always say that we should get an animated series of young Anakin and Obi-Wan, because in the elevator scene he's like, "Don't forget, Master, I protected you, or I saved you
yeah.
in there." And
From
I was
that
like,
nasty
"What? You
ray of gun
saved it,
darts.
Obi-Wan?"
Yeah,
Like, can we see that? It's like we miss 10 years of a young Anakin training. There's
yeah,
probably been so many times he backtalk Obi-Wan.
yeah.
Like, we
Yep.
wanna see that. So I know
Yeah,
it's too late, obviously, for live action, but if they could do that as either a Tales of the Padawan, that would
yeah,
be dope. Because you could
yeah.
go back to seeing Qui-Gon as a Padawan, maybe go back to Obi-Wan when he was younger with
Yep.
Qui-Gon, go back with Anakin as a Padawan. Didn't who is Dooku?
Yes.
His Yoda was his master.
Yep.
So going back to even a younger Dooku with
That would be
Yoda,
sweet.
that would be sweet, because then they could tie things that happened back when they were Padawans to now, as
Yep.
we seen the movies, and be like, "Oh, that's why that person's like that." Because when they
Yes.
did the Tales of the Jedi and they did the Dooku, that was amazing. I was like, "Yo, Yaddle? What?"
Yep.
It like
Yeah.
that changed a lot. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's the episode 2 to me just, and I guess I like not guess necessarily being the oddball on purpose, but I kind of like that not everybody likes episode 2. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people, it's like, it's gonna be Empire, or it's gonna be Revenge of the Sith. You
Yeah.
know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Empire Strikes Back was an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I'm just jealous. I mean, I got to see it. No, no, I see Return of the Jedi. I didn't get to see Empire in the theaters. You know how they replay the
Yes.
movies again in theaters, but it must have been amazing to watch Empire back in the days in the theaters and leaving the
Oh, dude.
theaters and be like, "What?"
And thinking about this, like it was only the second Star Wars movie ever made. So they went
Yes.
from the excitement of this is like Star Wars. What is Star Wars, right? Like this is cool. To like, dude, we get to go watch the second one, and then just having your mind just absolutely blown to shreds by like, I don't know what I love about it is like the darkness and just like the I
Yes,
don't know.
it's very and then you get Boba Fett. Like, Boba Fett was like,
He's my
"Yo,
favorite.
who is that guy, bro? Who is that guy standing next to Vader?"
Yep.
And he's just taking it and like, you, like, literally built up all these heroes and New Hope to then the second movie to just m make them be like, "Yo, how they gonna get out of this?"
Yeah.
Like, Luke is hanging, he lost an he lost an our hand.
Yeah. Han Solo's in
Han
carbonite.
Solo's in carbonite. It just feels like freaking C-3PO is hanging in the back of Chewie. It's
Yep.
like, yo, they really lost. They
They
really
did.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie is just
Boba
I
Fett is my
mean,
favorite. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder there. I got the no, go this way. Boba Fett helmet back
oh,
there from
nice.
Empire.
That's yeah.
Boba is my favorite. Like that part too. Like imagine, like I just again I imagine like it being the second movie of Star Wars I've ever seen in my life, and like they get that part where Vader's talking to all of the bounty hunters, and he goes, you know, you are free to use any methods necessary, and then like stands in front of Boba and goes, no
Oh, it's great.
disintegrations. Like,
Yes.
and I'm like, I want to see the story about that. Who did he disintegrate? Like,
That would have been again, that would be amazing stories. There's so much things in between. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you really think about it, right? You want to be smart and lazy at the same time. You don't have to create anything new. Just stick with the same characters, but tell us stories in between or
right?
how they got there.
Yeah,
And that's easy. Like, we're like, hey, and I think Hannah, the what is it? The Ray side. Hannah, I
yes.
don't know if you know Hannah from the Ray side.
Yeah, I've been messaging with her a little bit, trying to get her on the podcast as well. Yeah,
She had asked the question like, what would you do different with the prequels? And to me, I said make 3 movies into 6
yeah,
because you have the in between, like I said, the adventures of young Padawan Anakin with Obi-Wan. So that's technically episode 2, the training and everything, the building there. Maybe we get a little bit more of the anger because they didn't want him in episode 1. They denied him and
yeah,
the anger, the fear. So it would be good to see young Anakin angry, upset, maybe talking back to and then it would have been dope if maybe Obi-Wan sees the Force ghost of Qui-Gon and he's just pissed off and says, "Master, I just can't do this." And then a ghost of Qui-Gon shows up and then Obi-Wan, remember you were just like this.
yeah,
You know, that could be episode 2. Episode 3, then you could do like the love between Anakin and Padme and all that stuff. Episode 4 would be more of the Clone Wars. You
yeah.
call the movie Attack of the Clones and they show up like the last 40 minutes. Like, come on,
Right,
bro. I
exactly.
want to see more than that.
Yep.
Like, let's see those gunships go into different planets and fight the separatists. And yes, we got the Clone Wars animated series and all that stuff, but that would have been dope as the fourth movie. And then the fifth movie, you could start using like where the parts where he's hanging around too much with Palpatine
Right.
and learning and getting, the powers and all that stuff. And then episode 6 would be kind of like the full turn. He fully turns, and now we have Hayden in the suit with Inquisitors hunting down
Yes.
Jedi's. So those would be like the sixth part. It's so much, and again, I'm not doing anything new. I'm just expanding on what's already been taught.
Yeah.
Like, Tony talks about this all the time when Luke says, "Oh, the Clone Wars, like what is that?" And then obviously we got the prequels, and now they talked about the Clone Wars. But that's the thing; it's just taking something that they said, and like you said, no disintegrations. Like, what
Yeah.
did Boba do? How did
Right.
Boba get picked?
Yeah.
And then that's another story right there. We learn about Boba, Daniel Logan, Tung Wee's here, little kid. What
Yeah.
happened afterwards?
Yep.
The suit. Let me see how did he become one of the biggest badass bounty hunters? You know, it would have been dope. And I think Battle Packs talked about it, saying like the Mando show should have basically been the Boba show. Like,
Yes.
learn about Boba and how did he gain that recognition? What if he was down to hunt Vader, or him and Vader bump heads,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
Because Vader is like, maybe Vader was talking, you know, to Boba saying like, I could do this to you, I could do that to you, and he goes, not with this armor.
Right.
Like, because lightsaber and then the armor, Beskar, so it could have been something even there. So much that that's what I was telling my girlfriend is like, Star Wars, this universe is so big that there's so many things they could go in. So
100%.
many things that you don't need to create anything necessarily new. It's already there. Just expand the story.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. No, that's good. I had a friend that was like, I asked him the same question about the prequels, and he was like, I would change it. Like, as cool as it was to see Dooku and General Grievous, I would have changed it where Darth Maul is the main protagonist through all three. And you have it
Ooh.
where Darth Maul not only kills Qui-Gon, but kills Anakin's mom as well. And that's
Oh,
why Anakin is upset at Obi-Wan, is because Obi-Wan is taking the high ground and not killing, Darth Maul. And Anakin's like, "What are you doing?" Like, and Obi-Wan's trying to tell him, like, this is vengeance. And Anakin's like, "This is not vengeance. This is justice. Me hunting him down is justice." And even the, Jedi Council are like, "No, Anakin, this is vengeance. You're looking for revenge." And that's where he starts to get pissed and like, "No, I am looking for justice. What are you doing?" Like, that would have been
that
cool
would
too, I feel like.
that would have been dope. That would have been. Imagine, like, in episode 2, we get like in episode 2, right? Instead, like you said,
Yeah.
instead of Dooku, we get Anakin and Obi-Wan versus Maul.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Maul looks at them and said, "I remember this."
Yeah.
Like saying like it was Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus him in episode 1. So
Yep.
episode 2, now it's older Anakin, teenage Anakin, and like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let you do what you did to Qui-Gon to us. That would have been,
Yeah.
ooh, that would have been a
And
good one.
maybe Anakin gets the same dream about his mom dying, like there's kind of a vague, and he goes to the camp, the Tusken camp, and Darth Maul's already there, and he has slaughtered everybody, including his mom. You know what I mean? And like that's where he starts raging. You get that face where like what scene I'm talking about, where he's holding her in his arms and he looks up and he's just like just angry, and the scene, the violins like da da da
Hold on,
da, like just
I
like
gotta show you this. So this is what I had Hayden sign. I don't know. Let's see if I could get it in.
yes.
Let me see if I can get it in the camera. The lights.
I hate sand. I love it. Yes,
Yeah.
that
So it's
the one
just,
on the right side there where it's a perfect thing because he does like the quick slice of the two down on the
yeah,
end, and then he comes up and he holds his lightsaber there as it's running up and just woof,
whales
like
on them, bro.
yeah. I was like, dang,
I hate them.
that was wild, man. Where he's like,
Yeah.
just man, I killed them all, every single one of them, and not just the men, but the women and
Women,
the
the
children too.
children.
They're like
That should have been
animals,
a
and I
red.
slaughtered them like animals. I hate them. Like, dang.
Yeah. That's what. But yeah, if it would have been Maul, oh my god, I could see, and then I could see Obi-Wan say, "Anakin, no!" And Anakin's not, "I got this myself."
Right.
Oh, man.
And Obi-Wan knows because obviously he's fought before, like, that was a dumb move, and
And then, yeah, Maul taking his arm off could be the
yep,
same thing that happens, but it's Maul.
yep,
That would, man, I always felt like, because when the commercials came out for episode 1 and you saw the double blade, you're like, "Wait, wait, 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 you could do that?" Like,
right.
I felt like it was a cheat code.
It was.
And then I'm like, "Wait, you could do that?" And then to watch episode 1 and him get cut off in half, I'm like, "Bro, why we wasted a all," because literally episode 1 merch was all Maul.
It was.
T-shirts, cups, Maul was everywhere, so we were like, "Yo, is he gonna be better than Darth Vader?"
Yeah,
And then just to kill him to episode 1, I'm like,
yeah,
"Bro, I think they missed an opportunity." But, I mean, I guess we gotta get the Dooku story, we got,
right.
but you go from Maul to Dooku to now Anakin becoming Vader.
Yeah.
So,
And it would have been cool too, like you said in that scene where he says Anakin no, like maybe Maul only has one side of his blade lit, and Anakin thinks he can
oh,
take him, and so he goes to like swing on him, and as he does, like Darth Maul pulls this move, turns the other blade on, and is able to chop off his arm, like just like
and then
in
we get
any
another then Anakin gets pushed out to the side just like in episode 2, but now we get another scene of Obi-Wan versus, Maul. Maul's,
yeah,
like, talking trash and be like, "I'm a little bit more wiser and stronger than the last time you faced me." So,
yeah,
oh, man, that would've
that'd have been
been
cool.
good. Yeah. The
Um,
the good what
switching
ifs.
right, I know, I love the what ifs. Switching gears a little bit. Okay, so earlier we were on a live stream and you said that you are quote down to 600 Funko Pops now, and you were originally at 20. Like, first, what in the world got you started into Funko Pops, and secondly, why in the world are you downsizing?
Okay, so back in 2013, I was really big into The Walking Dead. I think
Okay,
everybody in America at the time was big into The Walking Dead. And I had a coworker that he's big into horror.
okay,
So then he told me about these Funko Pops. And I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cute, like, cool." Like, I thought they were cute. But at the time, I wasn't really collecting figures.
yeah,
So, the only thing I would collect is, like, video game collectors, like, edition stuff. Like, if it came
yeah,
with, like, a statue, stuff like that, I collected those. And then I was, again, really big into sports, so, like, sports memorabilia and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then I came out of a movie theater, and the movie theater, they had a table, and there was a guy there selling Walking Dead stuff. And if it wasn't for my ex-wife, she was the one that called me back to the table because I was already ready
heading
to
out the
go.
door. Yeah,
She called me back to the table. She's like, "Oh, look at all these Walking Dead stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then I saw they had Rick Grimes and they had Daryl Dixon Funko Pops, and I was like, "How much for these two?" I don't even know if it was like $15 or $16. I'm like, "Oh, that's not bad." She's like, "You want me to get it for you?" I'm like, "If she's paying for it, then yeah, go ahead." And then so I got those two. Then I started doing my research, and I found out that they did bloody versions, and those are the versions that you want. So the bloody versions were like exclusive to, some of them were San Diego, Gemini Collectibles, Barnes and Nobles, Hot Topic, and obviously the bloody ones are the best ones, right? They
yeah,
literally be the same Funko Pop, but just spray of blood all over the Funko Pop and a sticker. So then that got me into a path of trying to get bloody versions. And then I started going to cons and getting them autographed. So I think I got about 13 Walking Dead characters, actors, autographs on Pops. And then that's it. So it went from like just having two to literally having like 40. And but all of them
dang.
Walking Dead. And then I didn't know, like I didn't really look at anything else and I'm like, wait, they do Marvel? Wait, they have Star Wars Funko Pops? They got Ninja Turtles? Then I was also big into Doctor Who, so I'm like, they got Doctor Who pop, so it just became to I had Walking Dead, Doctor Who, Batman, Marvel, Ninja Turtles, Star Wars, um, what's it called? Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Also Attack on Titan anime. I was just getting everything. So it became like wherever I like, whatever IP I end up liking, I end up getting Funko Pops of,
Okay.
to the point where, like I said, it's over 2,000.
Dang.
So a lot of the reasons why I downsized was because of space, right? We moved into a smaller space. Another thing I downsized was um, repurposing my collection. Kind of like if I was to give advice to anybody that's collecting, would be like get what you like and try not to be a completionist because it's gonna be real expensive and really hard. Especially what that kind of got
Mm.
me with Funko is like I'll finally complete something and next year they'll come out with another wave. And I'm like another wave of 15, another wave of 10. And I say I can't
Can't
do
keep
this.
up with
So
us.
I stopped trying to be a completionist. And it was just Funko just kept on getting so many IP out, and there was like too much that I wanted to venture off to other things like
Yeah.
helmets or lightsabers or figures or hot toys. So I kind of take some of my
Or
collection
cards now.
down. Huh?
I said or cards now.
Or cards now, right? And or autographs. So
Right.
I took that money and kind of repurposed it to something else. So
Gotcha.
it eliminates the space, like it makes, the space better, but also helps me fund my collection for something else. But I still have a lot. Like I said, I'm down to the 600s. I still got majority of all my Star Wars, all my Power Rangers, Batman, and I had kept some of the Dragon Ball. Like it was really crazy because my girlfriend was like, "Wait, you getting rid of some of your Dragon Ball pops?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I just kept some of the like I think 8 that means something to me, or they got autographs. And then I'm like, I got Dragon Ball statues, so I'm more focused on statues or Ichiban Kujis than Funko Pops. But then Funko, to be honest with you, the last maybe 2 years, they really getting me upset because
Okay.
the simple fact, like, there's a lot of laziness with they'll take one, like, figure, and they'll make it chrome, and then they'll throw glitter on it, and then they'll make it glow in the dark, and they're doing all these things, and they got away from what I originally fell in love with was the exclusivity. Like, you like this is only a 400. This is only a
Yeah.
500, a 1,000. You can only get this at New York Comic Con. You can only get this at San Diego.
Yeah.
Um, those things like that is what really drives the value. Because I remember at one point, I don't even check anymore because I used to I have the Funko app, but like my collection at one point was like worth $52,000.
Ooh.
And now after selling the majority of it, I look at it now, it's like worth $17,000. The values dropped a lot and a lot of the Funko.
Wow.
Because I have a White Ranger, there's only 408 of them made. And it used to be up there in the thousands, right? But it dropped down so much because I don't know, I still see people collecting Funko and they still coming out with stuff, but some of the stuff that they come out, like I wanted to do better. Like like I said, I don't say that I'm stopping collecting Funko because Funko might come out with something like I still want the Daniel Logan, was it the young Boba Fett with the blue
Mm.
suit. Like, they
Yeah.
came up with a nice boba wave that I still need to pick those up, but I'm also a person that gonna wait because Funko's even hitting like, when I talk about over assortment, like, they coming out with too much, you would never find Funko at a Dollar Tree. You would never find Funko at a Ross or a TJ Maxx back in the days. Funkos will only be exclusive to certain stores like Hot Topic, They had started bringing them to Target and Walmart, Barnes and Nobles, and the FYE. And then obviously they came up with the Funko.com shop exclusives. But that's it. Like they would be very rare you see any of them at any other places at discounted. But now that's
Yeah,
all you see. Like, I see a pack that says like Funko Shop exclusive, 4 Funko Pops in the pack at Ross. That's a Funko Shop exclusive. What is it doing here?
right.
It's just because they're coming out with too much. I think they need to limit their releases and then make a lot of things exclusive, like bring back the fever of San Diego. I remember we used to stand doing midnight release at Hot Topic here in the
Dang.
Florida Mall to get the San Diego Comic Con pops. And there was some pops that I would just buy because they were San Diego exclusive. Like I like the Nightmare Before Christmas, but I don't collect any Disney. But they had Jack Skeleton exclusive for San Diego. I bought it because it was exclusive. It was limited at the time. Like those are the things that I love, and it was more the thrill of the hunt versus Funko lost me. So if
Yeah,
they come back, they can come back. But yeah, that's why a lot of reasons why I downsize.
interesting. That's cool. I always love asking people about the things that they collect, including now you you along with me. There's a lot of us that have started to get hooked on these tops cards now. What was it, Tony, that put you onto these things, or what? How did you end up getting hooked on the tops?
Yeah, it was definitely Tony. He's a source of bad influence.
He is. He's a carrier.
He's a source of bad influence, but definitely him. Um, it where the cards came from. So when we went to ICC Con, there was a gentleman that was selling graded PSA 10s, 9s, and 8s Star Wars cards, and at a good price, like $10, $20, $30.
Dang.
So Tony bought, I think, first one he bought was a Luke. I don't know if it was Return of the Jedi Luke, and he's like, "Yo, I just got this for $10, and it was graded." And I'm like, "Bro, from what table?" So he showed me the table, and I got me a couple graded ones, and he bought some more. And then I think from there it started because then he went home back from ICC Con, started looking at graded cards and bought a couple here and there. And I guess he heard about the Galaxy cards. And during our podcast, he's like, "Did you hear about these?" And I'm like, "No." He released it. And then when he opened his box and I actually saw the cards, I'm like, "Yo, these cards are fire," because the simple
Yeah.
fact that they're artwork. Like I
Yes.
love artwork. I mean, I have so many things that are not even in walls that my girlfriend says, why you keep on buying them? Because I like in MegaCon, which is the biggest convention here in Orlando, I love going down Artist Alley. I love seeing artist work, artwork, one-on-ones, custom work. Like I got some on the wall back here for my boy Spray
Yeah.
Paint Geo. Um,
I like that
so
Darth
when he
Vader one.
opened up those cards and it's just artwork, not just photos of like on like
Right.
this, like I'm like, bro, these are dope. I want to get them, and then it just feels like the nostalgia again of opening cards. You don't know what you're gonna get,
Right.
and I just happened to be lucky a couple times. Like I didn't
Dude,
even know how lucky he is to get an autograph card. Like this
show
is
him off.
crazy.
Yeah.
This
Help
is crazy
Skittle D
right here.
McPyramid. I love it.
And then even getting a sketch card, like you know.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, so like I've like I didn't know at the time, but I'm looking at everybody in their opening packs, like it's not guaranteed. It's like one autograph per case, and there's like 12 boxes in the case. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just picked up a random box in Lakeland, Florida.
Yeah.
And I got through. So yeah, it's now I literally have here in my hand that just got home. It's a graded card that I'm gonna unbox that I purchased, and I'm waiting for another one to come tomorrow. So eh,
Ooh.
and I tell Tony we're gonna change our collection to graded cards. It takes up less space.
Yes, it does. A lot less space. Yeah, same thing happened for me. Like I'd seen Tony do a couple things on it on the tops cards, and then I watched you open yours, and I'm like, man, that's really cool. And then I noticed that Tony was getting in on a live stream with battle packs, and I'm like, "Who is Battle Pack?" So I started like I'd been trying to find him on Instagram and YouTube, but for some reason he wasn't populating when I was searching him up. So Tony finally sent me a link for it, and I got on there. I got on Drip, and I'm one night I was on Drip watching one of his live streams, and I'm in bed, like not going to bed, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm gonna buy this one pack. And I bought it, and the first pull I get is this Mojo Darth
Yes,
Vader 43 out of 50. Like, and I'm like,
that
yeah, buddy, let's do this. And I just I kept pulling like really cool, really good cards. This one, this Vader card. I love this Vader card.
oh, that's fire.
And then I got like a bunch of like cool gear cards, like Pregnant Padme
Yes,
and
I saw that, that was no, yeah, no, I think you part of your episode, he showed your order, and
yes.
yeah, I saw the pregnant Padme one, I'm like, "Man, yo." Yeah, I
Yeah.
got drip too, so yeah, but that's did you got a box too, right? A hobby box or no?
No, I haven't gotten a whole box yet.
Oh, okay.
I've just been buying mostly the 2024 blaster packs. They're $7 a pack. That's where a lot of these came from. I got like a Shadow Box Darth Vader TIE Fighter card. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's pretty sweet. I got some. They're all back there actually. It's on my Instagram too. If you go look, I have a video of all my cards now. But and then it was funny because the other night Battle Packs hooked me up. I was on Drip. I'm a steady customer now. I just call myself a regular, just hey, toss it on my tab. But I bought one of those blaster packs, and he starts opening one pack, and then two packs, and three packs, and I'm on the group chat going, dude, what are you doing? Like, who are those for? Like, I bought one flipping pack. Well, he ended up letting me keep the packs that he opened, but the last pack in the very back had a Darth Vader gear card, and I'm like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw
So
yeah, that was just, like, last night or 2 nights ago, wasn't
yeah, it
it?
was like 2 nights ago. Yeah,
2 nights ago, yeah, I saw that, he's like, "Oh, well, these are all yours, bro." I'm like, "Yo."
yeah,
So oh, that's cool, yeah, I've been kinda tempted I mean, obviously, to support the homie too, battle packs, like,
yeah,
obviously, I don't look at it as, of him, like, selling and stuff, I feel more of, like, supporting.
for sure.
So I was like, I think that night I had to go to bed, and I was like, I don't really want to, because I think I didn't set up everything up yet. You got to set up like your credit card or whatever,
Yeah,
and I'm like, bro, I don't want to really go to the living room and get my wallet and come back to the room. I'm like, I gotta set it up so I
yeah,
can one support the homie and then also support this card collection.
yes. He's actually on right now, which is
Yeah,
fun.
I saw that's when my phone lit up. I don't know if you saw me down. I was like, my phone, it was giving me Drip
Yep.
was giving me notifications that he's on. I'm like, oh shoot.
So I think after we're done recording here, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna be on Drip till midnight. So
Yeah, probably me. You'll see. We'll chat on there.
sounds good. I love it. I love it. Um, so I know you go to cons, celebrations. Two questions out of there. What's the coolest con or celebration you've ever been to? And two, what's the coolest like auto or photo from or with a celebrity you've gotten?
So for the coolest Star Wars celebration was Chicago. It
Okay.
was the only Star Wars celebration that was actually 5 days.
Whoa.
5 days in Chicago. I kind of felt like it was too much, but it was also fun. Like
Yeah.
I kind of felt like it was a lot of days, but by it being a lot of days, you didn't feel rushed that you had to do everything. Like,
Yeah.
okay, let's knock this out today. We'll knock this out the other day. So then you could come home because I mean, obviously come back to the hotel. Me and Tony, we went to Chicago, and then we could actually eat dinner. Because when we did Chicago Fan Expo, we were there because we were there 3 days or 2 days? No. So Chicago Fan Expo, I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Me and Tony were only there Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
So we didn't we flew back on Sunday. So we had to jam pack everything. everything that we had to do on all on Friday, all on Saturday. So we left the con late and ate late, like at 11 o'clock at night,
Oof.
almost midnight, to eat by the time we get back. In that Chicago Star Wars celebration, like we got out at dinner time. Like we'll go
Yeah,
early in the morning. They open up at 9 or 10, and then we'll leave like around 4 or 5, get back to the hotel, shower, whatever, and then actually have a dinner. So that's what I remember about Chicago too, that we actually got to eat at some dope food spots. We got to go
that's
walk
cool.
to the Bean at nighttime, and that's the first time we've seen a lightsaber battle. Like there was a lightsaber meetup at the Chicago Bean, which I was like, we didn't know about, but
That's cool.
we were walking at night, and we're like, is that lightsabers over there by the Bean? So we cross the street and we go over there, and we pull out our phones and start recording. Is just a big battle of people meet up for the Bean. So
That's
Chicago,
awesome.
hands down, is our favorite Star Wars celebration, and we always said like we wish it could go back to Chicago. My best con like photo experience and autograph experience will have to be Chicago, but it was Fan Expo recently this year. Mark
Okay.
Hamill, Hayden Christensen, like when are you gonna
Dang.
get a father and son photo op? Like, and shout outs to my girlfriend. She was the one that like really not pushed me, but it made me like think like, when are you gonna get this chance?
Yeah,
If you don't do it, and it was a lot of money, but she's like, if you don't do it, then you'll be kicking yourself for years. If
yeah,
you have the opportunity, just do it. And so I was like, okay. I went to her, for her to tell me no, like no, that's a lot of money. Don't do it. And ended up being like telling Tony, "Yep, I'm going with you. We're going to Chicago." So it was a good experience, and just meeting Mark Hamill and shaking his hand and taking a
that's
photo with
cool.
him. It's the boy Luke, man. It's like it's the
Yeah,
guy we grew up, loving, and then the having him for me, it's two things because he's also Joker from the Batman animated
yes,
series. So for me, it was two. Like it's like
yeah.
wow, it's amazing.
Is
So those
he
would
pr
be sorry.
No, go ahead, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I said like for me, it was the best experience and autograph and photo op Chicago.
Is Mark Hamill pretty nice in person?
He may seem like grumpy
Okay,
in a sense. I don't know if
yeah,
it's because he's signing through a lot. Like I remember, like I got to shake his hand on the photo op, but for the auto, oh, you're just going in and out. Like
yeah,
I thought, because let me show you. I thought the plaque that I got signed was gonna get him to be like, "Oh, this is dope. This is crazy. I
yeah,
like it," but it didn't. So I got Joker on one side, Batman the
that's
animated
cool.
series, and then I got Luke on the other side, and then you got his auto right there in
Yeah,
green. So maybe this side you see a little bit better, but yeah.
that's
So
cool.
I thought, but he just like his handlers, like the tables, they connected like 7 tables, and you'll put your stuff down, and he had like 5 handlers. They'll just be passing it down, and he's just going at it. So it's like I get it because he probably had a lot of autos to do those
Yeah,
days that he was there, and I took advantage. But yeah, it turned around because I ended up taking 2 photos. Obviously, one with just him, and then one with him and Hayden. And the one with him and Hayden was the one that like was really good. That I got
that's cool.
the handshake, and they asked me about my shirt, and like
Yeah,
the shirt that I took the photo with him, it wasn't a Luke shirt. So he's very smart because it was a Luke shirt, but it was the Luke from the Mandalorian. So when I came up to him, he was like, "Oh, Luke from the Mandalorian." So I was like, "Oh, he knew like that's not me, bro."
that's hilarious. I have heard though that Hayden's really, really friendly and like
Oh, he
remembers
is an
people. Like I know
angel.
Tony, like he remembers Tony, like Star
He's an
Wars Sith, he remembers him. Like
he's an angel. Like my like the autograph, he put "I hate sand." I asked him for that. You okay?
I'm good. Yep. Sorry, I just had
Okay.
something caught in my throat there. I need some more. Drink some
No,
water
no
here. Go ahead.
problem. But, yeah, he wrote I can't saying that, but he's just once you lock eyes with him, man, he's an angel. He's an
That's
angel.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, so I got to talk about this because you said you're a Batman fan too. So again, that's my second love is Batman. You should see the comics I have. What got you started into Batman? Was it the animated series? Is that where you got your beginning or
No, it was actually, Michael Keaton, 1989
Okay.
Batman. I think '89, I was 7.
Okay.
So, 7 years old in the 2nd grade in New York, they did the Batman 1989 cards that had gum in it. We would
Okay.
trade those cards. I remember getting the Batmobile card, and a lot of people were like, "Ooh, you got the Batmobile card." But that was the one that kind of like I remember after that movie, I was a Batman for 3 years straight for Halloween. Like,
I
and
love
just a
it.
simple fact to know that yeah, he's a rich guy that could buy a lot of technology, stuff like that, kinda like Tony Stark's in a sense, but I
Yeah.
like the fact that he wasn't born in a different planet. He didn't get bit by anything. He didn't have a wild, crazy spaceship ride that turned him into something else. He was just a guy that just wanted justice. His
Yeah.
parents died, and maybe, he didn't believe about shooting guns. So he wasn't about shooting guns. He wasn't gonna kill you, but he was gonna make sure you got your justice.
Oh
And
yeah.
any way justice it to his way. Like,
Yeah.
like they say vigilante, but that's what I like he had a to me, I feel like he had a purpose.
He
And
did.
then being the world's greatest detective and being so smart, you know,
Yeah.
but coming back and he has bumps and bruises, man. Bane broke his freaking back.
Yep.
Like, this is not a
Yeah.
guy, like I said, he's not from, was it, the planet Crypto, whatever, Krypton, whatever the
Krypton.
planet is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a Martian, he's just a guy. He has
Yeah.
his limps, and,
Yeah.
he's also a smooth guy, during the day. He got some girls on his side,
Right.
billionaire, millionaire, doing his thing. But that's what I liked about Batman the most is just the justice part that he lost his parents and that he wants to make sure that nobody experiences that again. He gets
Yeah.
all the bad guys.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not going to kill you, but he will definitely take you to that doorway.
Yeah, he
You know what I
will.
mean? He'll leave you at that doorway.
If you're missing some teeth, oh well. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep.
and I wouldn't say I read every single Batman comic, but reading some of the series of man, DC's dark, man.
It is.
DC's a hell of a dark. That's why I think Marvel is Marvel like Disney, right?
Yeah.
Pertaining to kids and family and very bright colors, but DC is it's a different planet. It's
It
dark.
is.
It's reality.
It is.
Drugs, stabbing, shooting, raping. Uh,
Yep.
like
And I think
Gotham City is not the
that's why I
nicest place
like
to
it.
be walking around.
Yeah. And that's why I like it. It's more like set in reality in a sense. You know what I mean? Like which makes it a lot more fun to kind of to read.
Yeah.
So who would you say then is Michael Keaton your favorite Batman, or who would you say is your favorite Batman?
Yeah, I would think, from nostalgia reason, Michael Keaton would be my favorite.
Okay.
Um, a lot of people, what's his name, Christian Bale. People
Yeah.
like Christian Bale. To believe it or not, people don't believe me, but I didn't think Ben Affleck was that bad. But a lot of
So,
people didn't like this Spider-Man versus Superman. They didn't really like that
yeah,
whole Justice League. But when I heard about Ben Affleck being Batman, I was like, "No, come on, Bran,
yeah,
why?" And then I think he didn't do that bad. I think
yeah,
he didn't do that bad, but yeah, I think Michael Keaton was good.
yeah,
Like I got Val Kilmer wasn't bad. But George Clooney, no,
no,
no, I don't know. It was just changing too much. But I actually, even further back, like I said, I watched the 1989 Batman when I was younger, and then when I was like 6, 7, or 8, they replayed a lot of the 1966 Batman.
oh,
And
with
my
Adam
dad
West,
my dad was like, "Yeah, that's the Batman that I know. The
yeah,
proud, the wow." So I grew up watching that. I remember meeting Adam West at a he did it for some reason, him and Nabisco. Nabisco and Adam West would tour the United States Targets and do autographs at Targets, back in the '90s. So and my sister worked at Target, and she's like, "You're not gonna believe who's coming tomorrow." And I was like, "Who?" She's like, "Adam West." I'm like, "Oh my god, I want his autograph." And, she hooked it up and made sure I was in line to get the autograph. Adam
Yeah,
West is my brother. So, yeah, Adam West. So that's why I have, the metallic Funko Pop 1966 Adam West and, what's his name? Robin, the Batman and the Robin, because that kinda also plays a part to Batman for me.
yeah.
But yeah, it's I guess it's tough. A lot of people have who's your favorite Batman?
My favorite Batman is actually Ben Affleck, and
Oh,
there's
wow.
there's
Okay.
actually a reason for that. Like, as you read the comics, like, Batman is supposed to be a big, broad-shouldered dude. That's partially what makes him so scary, is not only is he a shadow in the night, but he is intimidating as a physical being, and I thought out of all the people who've portrayed Batman, Ben Affleck filled that out really well. He's tall, he's big, he's broad-shouldered, like, he's just this behemoth of a man, so to speak, and like I think one of the most as bad as much as I'm not really a big fan of the Batman versus Superman movie, there was one scene at the beginning that is 100% Batman, and it's when that cop goes into that room where they find like all the people, and he goes upstairs, and there's one room where this guy is chained up to the heater, and he's sitting there, and he sees like he's been branded with the Batman symbol, and he's like he's got his little flashlight, and he's kind of shaking or whatever, and he hears something, and he looks up in the corner, and up in the corner of the room in the shadow, Batman's just sitting in the corner up on the roof, like holding himself up there, and then he starts to shoot, and he's like starts swinging through the ceiling. I'm like, that is so Batman. That's unreal. Like, and so I don't know. There are, to me, like, as like I know a lot of people love the Christian Bale movies, and there were some really good, cool things about them. But Batman builds his own stuff. He builds his own car. He builds his own gadgets. He doesn't just Wayne Tech doesn't just have them. He creates
Mhm.
them. And that's why I actually really loved the new Batman, not because of Robert Pattinson, but the Gotham felt like Gotham. It was dark. It was
Yes.
gritty. It was an Arkham City feel. It was like it just felt dark. And then like his car, you can tell it's an old muscle car that he's put together and pieced together to make this Batmobile, like so there are different things I like about each, but like as an overall like Batman Bruce Wayne for me, it's Ben Affleck.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. So funny I said that, right? And you're like, "What? That's
Yeah.
my favorite."
Exactly, yeah, and I know a lot of people don't agree, but I think if you actually read the Batman comics and what he's supposed to look like, that's why, like, I'm really excited that James Gunn has taken over the DC stuff right
Oh,
now,
yes.
and he's coming out with a new, not just Superman, but the new Batman, and I really hope they get someone like an Alan Richardson to play Batman.
Oh, that would yes.
So,
That would be dope. I'm really looking forward to see the new DC, and hopefully they clean it up,
for sure,
and because man, it's hard being a DC fan and hearing all the negative about it. And growing up a DC fan versus Marvel, it was crazy. Like I wasn't
yeah,
really into Marvel that much. The only thing that got me into Marvel was X-Men. That's it.
yep.
It was only X-Men. I collected X-Men comics and X-Men like cards with the foil holographic
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And that's it. Like I didn't really get into Spider-Man or any of that stuff because I felt like it was too childish. The reason why I like X-Men because they were like, mutants, degenerates,
Yep.
like, people hated them, and Wolverine
Yeah,
was badass, so
he was.
I love that Wolverine kinda remind me in a sense of Batman.
Yeah.
He's gonna make his own justice, he didn't follow all the rules, so that's what kinda tied me to X-Men, but it's always been DC.
Yep.
DC, Batman, Superman, it was just like, they were so good in the storytelling, and like you said, it made it feel like, you know, Gotham City was real.
Yeah.
At one point, I thought it was,
Yep.
and so, like, my parents told me, like, "N no, that's not real. That's not a real
Right.
city." because it made it seem like it was. If you're a young kid reading comics, you think like, "Yo, I don't wanna go to this city,"
Yeah, yeah,
you know?
exactly, 100%. But I know we're up against the clock here. I kept you a little bit longer than normal. I apologize. Like I said, I could literally talk all day about nerd stuff. I love just having conversations with people, but I do appreciate you coming on and being a part of the podcast, and hopefully we can get you back
Anytime,
on
man.
again.
Yep, anytime. I'm like I said, the same thing. I know we're in a time crunch. I gotta go to work the next morning, but yeah, bro, I could sit here for days just talking about nostalgia stuff, and definitely I'll be on. We need a Pop the Bounty Collector part two because we could go for days.
Yes, days, days, days for sure. So thanks again for coming on. Just for people who don't might not know, where can they find you?
Well, Pop the Body Collector on Instagram and on YouTube. I do Pop the Body Collector on Instagram. I post stories here and reels from time to time or anything that I picked up. But usually on YouTube, I do a lot of unboxings. I do also reactions to Disney Plus TV series. I go to cons. So if you've never been to a con before, I give you that experience and let you guys know what to look forward to. And then, like you said, I've been recently opening some packs live. But anything with the Star Wars community, I'm there. Just showing up for you guys. So if you want to, join the channel, hit that like button, subscribe, see me live. I also play games. I need to finish Jedi Fallen Order. So I do live stream gaming as well.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. And for those of you who are going to be watching this, don't forget, go to Rebel Scum Apparel. If you use code Star Wars Gazer, you'll get 15% off your entire order. Sign up for rewards. They got some dope stuff. This hat, I mean, they got some really cool stuff. They just dropped a new Qui-Gon shirt today. That's super dope. So go get yours. And we'll see you on the other side, guys. May the force be with you always.
Peace.